Chapter 3, Personality, Perception, and Attribution. We all have individual differences. We are all unique. These are some of our differences. Just like a snowflake, no two people are completely alike. We have the person, we have the environment, the situation results in a behavior. I like the mathematical application. Behavior is a function of who you are and where you are. I like the first statement. It is a continuous, multi-directional interaction between the person and the situation. General mental ability, or basically you're innate, born with, cognitive intelligence, gives a high indication of performance. I agree in general, but it also doesn't take into account the drive and the learning that could enhance a performance. We all have personality. We're described a lot by our personality. Two theories or approaches, trait theory and integrative theory. Trait theory tends to talk about observable traits you're usually born with or innate and that you have. The 5 big traits identified here: extroverted, agreeableness, conscientiousness, emotional stability, and openness to experience. Here's further definition of what the descriptions of those are. So an extrovert, as opposed to an introvert, social, assertive. Openness to experience, curiosity. The integrative approach takes into account those innate traits, but then combines it with dispositions. When you think about it, we all have dispositions. This integrative approach connects the two to predict behavior. Personality characteristics in organizations: core self-evaluations, personality traits, self-monitoring, one of my favorites. Some people are good at it, some people aren't, and there are times you wish some people were. Positive, negative. In general, what's your outlook? I tend to be related to some very negative people. Your core self-evaluation: 4 components: locus of control, self-esteem, generalized self-efficacy, emotional stability. Okay, locus of control is, do you believe you control it, or do you believe something like fate or the circumstances control it? Self-efficacy, the belief you can do it or not do it. Self-esteem, self-worth, how we view ourselves. And self-monitoring, taking cues from situation and persons versus relating more to the internal cues. How do you look at the world? It's that half glass, half empty thought. There are different ways to measure personality. Myers-Briggs And some of you may have experienced this already. This is a test that kind of looks at similarities and differences and understood by combining them. So one category is extroverted, introverted, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, perceiving, judging. Briggs and Myers, kind of based on some of Carl Jung's thoughts, developed this tool. Gives you an idea of the different type of components that go along with those particular preferences. How we see the world around us, beyond that positive and negative. When we're looking at perception, it's influenced by how we perceive it, who the person is, that might be our target, and what's the situation. There are many barriers to social perception. This is a great illustration of the model for social perception. We, as the perceiver, will have all sorts of things that we carry. Self-concept, familiarity with the target. The person, the target, will also have particular things. They will have an appearance. They will have nonverbal cues. The other connection to social perception down on the bottom is the characteristics of the situation. Where are you? Are you at a $1,000 a seat dinner, or are you in a very poor area of a city? As we put the three together, we have these barriers that start to come in. Stereotyping, one of the best. Projections, first impression error. All those go into our social perception. Impression management. We probably all know people that are name droppers. One of my favorites is I went to school with Ron Jaworski, who used to be a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's something I will quote unquote name drop. Basically, your impression management is just what it's saying. You're managing your impression to others. Attribution theory. Things that are considered internal attributions are within your control, what you attribute something to, and it's external if it's beyond your control. There's a fundamental attribution error. In other words, we tend to underestimate how much influence the outside has had on a person or a situation, and overestimate how much the person had in control. You're always late. It could be there really was an accident. Self-serving bias, we tend to attribute our successes to internally, we did it, and our failures to things that we couldn't control. This is just two cute exercises. If you stare at the plus, you should start to see a green dot. And last, do you see the old woman or the young woman? Can you see the knight on a horse? I always immediately see the young woman before I can see the old woman.